Hey guys, I'm out here at my father-in-law's waiting on these calves to get done drinking so I can unhook that float. That way that thing doesn't freeze up tonight. But I was going to talk to you about my pickup here. I'm going to start off with, I've always been a Dodge guy. Always wanted a Cummins, always had Cummins motors. I've had 3 different pickups in my life since shortly after high school that were the Dodge with the Cummins. Just always liked the way that inline 6 runs, and you know, that low end torque, all that good stuff. But about 2 years ago I picked up this 2000 Ford F350, and I kind of tend to stay with the older stuff. You know, I don't like this newer stuff, all that EGR crap, DEF, all that garbage. I'm not a fan of the EPA. But I picked up this 2000 F350. It's a 4-door, long bed, dually, 4-wheel drive, all that happy horse stuff. But what I was going to talk to you about was, when I got this thing, it needed an intercooler because it's cracked on the weld up going up the tank on one side. Needed a turbo. It really was kind of hard to spin. I don't even know how it spun the turbo. It was, you know, drug so hard trying to spin it with your finger. Needed some up pipes in a bad way. They had, where they bolt up to the collector on the back side of the turbo, they had wallered around in there, beat around in there so bad it actually wallered the collector off a little bit and rubbed holes through the up pipes. So this thing was in rough shape when I got it. It did not like to move out of its own way. So I got online and did a bunch of searching and trying to find parts to fix this thing. And for what it was going to cost me to replace all those parts, I got this kit through Irate Diesel Performance. These guys are out of Oregon and they know their stuff on these 7.3s. This kit cost me about $3,500. I think it was $3,550 with that air filter. That's what added the $50 2 years ago. And for what I was gonna have to spend to replace the parts if I did not get this kit, it was gonna cost me an extra like $700 or $800, I think it was, to get all those parts if I didn't purchase this entire kit. So anyway, I get a hold of those guys at Irate Diesel and they tell me exactly what I need. I did not want a racing pickup. This is a 9,000 pound pickup and it's a dually, and it's not for racing. It is a working truck. So I didn't want to lose any towing capabilities. I didn't want a bunch of turbo lag. I didn't want to do anything that would mess with the ability of this pickup to perform its duties. So I went with this Borg Warner 364.5 with the 91 housing, AR housing. This turbo almost has 0 lag. When I push on the throttle, it starts spooling and it goes. So I think that's the smallest turbo you can get with this setup. I'm not 100% certain on that, but you could get all different kinds of sizes for this setup. I think they have one, it's a 472 or something like that for the big horsepower guys. This pickup probably only pushes about 400 horse to the wheels. It's not huge horsepower, but I haven't dynoed it yet. I have plans of doing that once I get my new transmission in it. But it comes with an S&B air filter, a 4-inch stainless intake tube, that rubber boot to clamp the tube to the turbo, and over here, that's your exhaust. That 90 clamps to the turbo and then turns to the firewall, and it clamps to your downpipe. The reason for this 2-piece setup is because if you didn't have it 2-piece, you wouldn't get a 4-inch downpipe in there with that curve. for this T4 setup. I tried to make that sucker go up in there, tried to get it in there clamped together, does not work, can't do it. You have to put that on, that little 90 on the back of the turbo, and leave your clamps loose, and then slide your up pipe up from the bottom and get that clamp on. It's kind of a booger, but you know, you could get it done. I'm not a guy that has all the fancy tools. I just have basic tools, and I had no problems really putting that on there. So obviously with the T4 turbo setup, it comes with a different mounting plate, and your up pipes have a different mount on them for the backside of the turbo than factory does. So that this kit, like I was saying, it comes with that intake pipe, the down pipe, up pipes, intake Y, the intake plenums, intercooler tubes, and it's all stainless steel except for those plenums. They're aluminum, which those are kind of a must-have with this setup. Highly recommended by Irate Diesel if you're going to have this setup, because the factory ones are chintzy ass tin that is easily collapsible. You get all these boots with it, all the clamps, everything you need to put this setup together. And you get an option for an intercooler. I went with a CFS because I don't really need that fancier stuff on there. I'm not pushing that much power with this thing. You could get a Mishimoto with it, which I thought it'd be kind of nice to have, but it's $1,000 I didn't want to spend, and this one cost me $300, so that's kind of a no-brainer for me. But this setup completely changed the way this pickup ran. Of course, it wasn't running at full potential to begin with, but I've been in these pickups before from the factory, brand new. Rode with a buddy of mine, had one in Arizona when I lived there, and it was a running sucker, but I would say this thing would do a little better than that one on a factory platform, fuel wise and all that stuff with that turbo, just because it lights so much quicker. Your off the line go is like way better, and I've hit 37 pounds of boost with that thing now, so it's capable of pushing a lot more air into the engine. So if you need a setup for your 7.3 Power Stroke, and I think they have this setup for the old body styles too, but if you need a setup for your 7.3 Power Stroke, Irate Diesel Performance has it, and I'd recommend this to anybody, and I'd recommend those guys to anybody, because they're just really easy to work with. Really good guys, help you out. If you have questions, call them, they'll help you out. You know what I mean? So that's about it. That's what I wanted to show you on my 2000 F350. You guys all have a good day. Looks like I'm gonna unhook this float, especially now since there is a calf in the stock tank. So anyway, have a good one.